Hey everyone, Mike Lawson here. Law number 8, the law of intuition. And John Maxwell talks about this law being one of the hardest and most difficult to teach. And what it says is that leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. And that bias is towards leadership giftedness. Now some people, may be natural born leaders, or they just have that natural leadership ability. They just, they take charge. Well, this wasn't me. But, some people have it, and some people don't have it. But the good news is it can be developed if you want to lead others. Now, you are intuitive, and it talks about in this chapter that you are intuitive in the area of your giftedness. And let me explain what that means. Let's say you're, a baseball player, and you're gifted with that sport. You're gifted with that ability. Well, your intuitiveness on the field is heightened versus maybe somebody who's a soccer player, right? You may be able to see a pitch coming better than a soccer player or a football player, meaning you're gifted with that intuitiveness. And some people, again, it's just that ability, or you may have that natural ability, to be a leader. Well, and again, some people have that natural leadership intuitiveness. And again, that wasn't me. But leaders know how to read and react in certain situations, in almost all situations, okay, when you really get good as a leader. Now, listen, if you're in network marketing, you're doing presentations, you're sitting down with people, you're doing one-on-ones or, two-on-ones, or maybe it's a home meeting. Hey, or maybe you're doing a presentation in front of, a hotel room. Well, you need to read and react to your audience. And it's more important to read and react when you're meeting with somebody meeting with people in a small setting, whether it's a one-on-one or a two-on-one. So just yesterday, I was doing a photo shoot. My niece, who's an aspiring photographer, we were down in the city, and we got a bite to eat afterwards, and some of you guys saw the picture. And I saw this girl pitching this couple. Now, I love hearing people get pitched. And I was at the counter paying for the food, and I could just hear it, right? I just had that. Maybe that's part of a leadership intuitiveness. But I could just hear it. I heard McDonald's, I heard some buzzwords, right? So my point is, I start listening to her pitch. And again, I love hearing people pitch because I love seeing people go after their dreams, right? But she sounded, and I could tell she was young because I heard her mention college. She had a huge why. I heard a little bit of her why, and she had a family member with a disability, and she didn't know how another family member was going to be able to take care of that child, and she wanted to help. So she sounded very confident, but I could tell she was pretty young in the business, not just age-wise, but just young in the business, although she sounded confident. And here's why. The entire 30 minutes we were sitting there, I only heard her talk, maybe 99% of the time. And what I suggest to you, if you want to be a leader, is you want to... Now, I will preface this by saying that I don't know where she was at in the recruiting phase of this particular couple. She may have spent hours and hours on the phone with people or with this couple, and they may have said, listen, let's just meet, and I want you to show me everything. So I don't know where they were, but here's what I do know. Throughout that maybe 30 minutes that we were there, 99% of the time, she was doing the talking. What I suggest to you as a leader is you want to, again, read and react. And here's how you read and react. You ask questions. You need to be asking question after question after question and getting them to respond so you can tailor your presentation to their needs. I wasn't good at this in the beginning. I was what's called a shark. I was very money motivated. So when I would sit down with people, and she kind of reminded me of myself because that's all I did in the beginning was talk. Money. Well, guess what? If you're sitting down with somebody who may be, let's say, a whale, and if you don't know these 4 different personality traits, I'm going to do a training about them later on. But a whale is just somebody that likes to help people. Somebody that, a whale is like a teacher. Now, I'm a shark. I'm pulling up with a nice car, a nice watch, and I'm very flashy. And I'm sitting down with somebody that may have money, and money's not an issue. They just want to help people. Well, guess what? You're going to ruin that. They're not even listening to you. You're ruining the presentation. They're shut down. They're shut off. So as a leader, and the law of intuition says this, you want to get good at reading and reacting to certain situations. And you do that by asking questions, telling stories. Testimonials are great. That's why testimonials are so important. And it's more important for you as a leader to make sure you're on conference calls, to make sure you're at weekly meetings, to make sure you're at your company's big national conventions, because here's why that's so important, being plugged in all the time. Because you hear a testimonial. And if you don't have any testimonials that are directly related to you or your team or your organization, you can learn, you may hear a testimonial, learn that, and be able to share that with other people. See, the testimonials aren't for you. The testimonials are for you to share other people and inspire other people. Because again, if you're a shark or you're a whale, you want to relate to everybody. I'm not going to get into that, to get into the 4 personality traits on this video, but you need to get good at reading and reacting to people. Another thing I want to share with you, as a leader and you're building teams, there's going to be problems. There's going to be issues. If there's anything that's an issue, an issue with a customer, an issue with a rep, or maybe a rep doesn't like somebody else. Listen, I know what it's like to build an army of people, and not everybody gets along. There's different conflicting personalities. And if people aren't getting along, there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. But you need, as a leader, you need to recognize that. And here's what you do. And I want you, if you're not taking notes, please write this down, or at least remember this. Anything that's negative in your organization, negatives up. You take your negatives to the upline, positives down. I mean, if there's any testimonials or somebody lost weight or somebody hit a bonus or hit a rank advance and they made money, you tell everybody below you. You tell your entire downline about that. If there's any problems with customer service or there's a problem with, a rep, or somebody doesn't like something, or there's anything negative going on in the organization, you take that. Thanks, Cheryl Lynn and Ali. Thank you guys for sharing this video. I was fired up to do this video. You take those negatives upline. You never see, and I've seen this firsthand, where people would sabotage your entire organizations. They would literally, something would go on, like let's say they weren't 100% committed to the business, like they were in it, but they were just kind of tiptoeing, and they were building a small organization, and somebody in their team brought up an issue. And you know what? They sided with that person and said, you know what? That is an issue. And they made it this big problem. And it like cancer, it spread throughout the entire organization. It spread out through the entire downline. And they literally ruined their entire team. Instead of saying, you know what, that's a great question. I understand your concern, right? You're reading and reacting. And you take that. You recognize it right away, and you take that to your upline, and you deal with the situation. So just remember this. Positives down, negatives up. Get good at reading and reacting. See, leaders are readers of their situation, meaning whatever situation that you're currently in. Okay, you need to recognize that. See, you need to recognize as a leader if it's a good day or a bad day, if it's a good month or a bad month, so you can adjust. Leaders are also readers of trends, and you need to adjust and see where people, and make sure your team, and see where people are headed, but more importantly, make sure that you are steering your team in the right way. Now listen, in my opinion, and I don't even think it's my opinion anymore, I think this is fact, that live video is the place to be. Now I know, in my first company, that's all we did was home meetings. Home meetings, home meetings, home meetings. Now listen, I'm still a big believer, face-to-face is the best way. When you meet somebody, and that's why live videos are, in my opinion, the second best to, one-on-ones, because of the fact that I can't hide. You can see my personality. If I'm lying right now, you can see it through my teeth. You'll be able to tell somebody's character by watching their expressions, right? Now, and that's another, leadership skill, is to be able to read people, right? So trends, okay, I know people in that previous company, they're still doing home meetings, home meetings, home meetings, home meetings. They don't want to do live videos. By doing live videos, you can literally reach hundreds of millions of people all over the world through live video, instead of doing home meeting, home meeting, home meeting. And I know people personally that are very efficient at this, or they are recruiting high-level A players every single day because they're doing live videos, as opposed to, and they're building a team internationally, as opposed to just going to people's homes and homes and homes. So noticing trends, that's the trend right now. You need to be doing live videos if you want to build any kind of organization. More importantly, be a leader so other people in your team can see that. You might be afraid to do live videos, right? So do them anyway. Let's say somebody comes into your team, they're not scared of live videos. They start doing it, and because they're in your downline, they recruit somebody in China. They recruit somebody internationally. They can recruit somebody in Australia. Now you have an international business because you got a little bit uncomfortable. Is it worth it? My opinion, it is. Leaders are also readers of their resources, and leaders understand that people are their greatest asset. That's why you need to step up, do live videos. You need to step up and outpace your entire team. So people see what you're doing, right? And treat them because they are your biggest asset. People also, leaders are also readers of people, meaning you can walk into a room, and John Maxwell talks about this, that you can walk into a room as a leader, and within 5 minutes, you know people that are for you or people who are against you, okay? And you get really, really good at this. I mean, have you ever seen, intuition is just this. It's just a feeling. Were you ever in a situation or a room full of people and you just felt uncomfortable, or you felt like there's just something about that person I don't like? That's your intuition. That's your gut instinct, right? Go with it. If there's something about somebody that you don't like, that's your intuition telling you something. You need to listen to it. Don't ignore it, because that voice is always there. And if you're saying to yourself, what voice is he talking about? That voice, right? Now, leaders are readers of themselves. You need to learn your strengths and your weaknesses. See, when I first started network marketing, I could recruit people. And not so much I could recruit people, but I wasn't afraid to talk to people. I didn't like getting customers. I was nervous getting customers. But I could recruit people, meaning I could talk to people. That was my strength. Okay, but my weakness was getting customers. You need to recognize that. Now, John Maxwell talks about, another thing, let me share this much with you, is that I would know, getting back to leaders or readers of people, I would literally know, and you need to get good at this as a leader, people in your team, I would know when people in my team were about to quit. I would know when they were going to quit before they knew, because they would start saying things. They would start asking certain questions. But I wasn't good at this at the beginning. And once you recognize where people say, well, can this really work? Do I have to get on every conference call? Do I have to really go to this event? Or how about this one? I'll go to the next convention. When's the next one? Here's what you need to do. In your mind, you need to immediately say three-way call. You need to get that person on the phone with your upline. Okay, because here's why. They're not going to the next conference. They're probably not going to get on the next conference call. They're probably not going to go to the next meeting. If they start having questions, you need to read and react immediately and get them on the phone or get them in front of somebody that, again, two people saying the same thing is always better than one, but you need to get them on the same page, especially if you believe in them. And again, you already know their why, so you want to pull out their why in that conversation and things like that. But in closing, let's talk about the 3 levels of leadership intuition that John Maxwell talks about. And these are 3 categories, again, that people tend to fall into, just naturally, people tend to fall into them. And if you're not in one of these categories, or you're probably going to be in, obviously, one of these categories, but if you want to be, a natural leader, they can be learned. So understand that these categories can be learned and developed. The first one is people naturally see it. There's just some people are just naturally good athletes. Some people are just naturally good leaders. Okay, they say, follow me, people follow them. That was not me. Okay, but some people are naturally born leaders and they just naturally see things. Number 2, they're nurtured to see it. That was me. I always wanted to be a leader. I would, go to every single meeting. I literally sat in the front row almost my first 10 years of my career, learning everything I could about not only this company, but also my mentors. Now, you can be nurtured to see it. And the third category is just some people never see it. So it's they naturally see it, they're nurtured to see it, or they never see it. And again, if people just don't have any interest in leading. So just heard the doorbell, got to run. Check out my website, workwithmikelawson.com. There's also some information on there about how to do a live video. Until next time, have a great day, everyone.